Hello, hello, hello. Do you want to give the intro and the hello since I'm in such an incredibly pissed off mood?
Why don't you go fix that? Give us just a minute. This is the entertaining part of live. Yeah. So what happened was he had, I guess, your Facebook open over there. And so that was, yeah. I don't. You want to take a breath? You know what? Let's do this. Let's start with a prayer.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Pray for me because I need it.
I'm going to pray for you.
I'm about to throw all this equipment out the window.
Let me have your hand. All right. And it's a good thing that we're going to be doing what we're going to be doing tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we come and say thank you so much for being with us throughout this week, being with us, for answering my prayer with the technical difficulties that Brett was having for our podcast. We know that there are people that anticipate watching this, and we're waiting for a message, and hopefully we'll be able to provide that to them tonight. Lord, just thank you for giving us the opportunities that you continue to give us. And Lord, just calm our hearts. Remind us to take a deep breath and to appreciate and be grateful for everything that we have, and to turn towards you whenever we have moments of strife or difficulties. We know that you are always with us. It's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. And I know that was meant for me to take a deep breath. I don't care if you say we or not.
Yes, that was meant for you. So what happened was we're about 15 minutes late.
Nobody understands. So this is the funny thing, and this is something I've been harping on. Like even when I teach to real estate offices, right? And I'm teaching about ChatGPT or video, and I've been teaching lately to the fact that the content creator economy is a new real thing. Like content creation has become so humongous that not only is it a profession, a industry, but there's a whole economy around it. You can they're developing special business loans for content creators and all this stuff, right?
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
And when you tell somebody that you're a content creator or something like that, they're like, oh yeah, you're a YouTuber. So yeah, you're doing nothing but playing around with video. Nobody has any idea how much it takes to make sure that all this stuff works. And every time you come back to it, one little thing's off and everything. Anyway.
And I can't help. I have no idea how to help you with it.
So that's where we were. Sorry we're late. Technical difficulties. It happens. Even the best equipment, because I don't have junk here. That's for sure.
He's got really awesome equipment, I have to say. It looks pretty.
But anyway, it's always an internet related thing. It has to do with the cloud recording software and all that. So we are here to bring a more positive message than the fact that Brett is so pissed off at his equipment. However, this is the real deal. And no, the real deal is a class that I teach. But anyway, this is real life. And we are transparent and open and honest and authentic on here. And I'm mad. But as I'm mad at the technology. And as we move on and talk about more positive things, I will get in a better mood. I am quite sure. So that being said.
And it's the end of the week. It's got stuff piled on. And then that's just one more thing. And, because it's been a quick week for me. But there's a lot of stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we thank you for joining us live or watching us at a later time. And we just appreciate every single one of you. So we are going to be talking about Honey Lake Alumni Weekend part duh.
Duh.
Is it duh?
Duh would be what we got out of a certain presidential candidate last night.
I took French, and that's duh.
It's not duh. It's duh.
It's un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six, sept, huit, neuf, dix, onze.
It's pronounced dia. Remember Hot Shots
DX.
Part dia?
DX. Yeah, so we're going to talk about, so we have a couple different things planned, a lot of stuff that who knows, it's just going to come on the top of my mind. But we do want to talk about what you were experiencing at Honey Lake. Just some friendships that were formed. I love the fact that I was just talking to, I've been talking to a couple of the ladies. We had a Zoom on Sunday, and we're just trying to keep those relationships going because, it's that camaraderie. And I think of back in the day, I used to love the original Anne of Green Gables, and I know you have no idea what I'm talking about.
I know what it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I've never read the books or watched the movies, but
Kindred Spirits. That's what I think about.
I think I've seen some of it was a TV show too, wasn't it?
It was like a TV show on PBS,
like a mini series or something.
Yeah, and I think that they're doing it again. I don't know. Nothing's quite like the original.
Yeah, I'll be watching Mr. Ed. Thanks.
I like Mr.
What was that?
Ed.
Green Acres. I can deal with Green Acres. I don't know about Anne of Green Gables.
I know the entire theme song of Mr. Ed. I will not sing it, but I know it. I used to watch all that stuff back in the day. So we're going to talk about that, and then it's really great because Honey Lake has these continuing touches throughout the week, and I'm kind of taking some stuff that we were going over last night called the Heart Math Solution. And I think this is perfect. I think that maybe you went through what you just went through because we're going to be going over this exercise. And I think it'll make it that much more special. I mean, I just really do. So I kind of like took that from our class last night. And I was like, that's something that we really need to do because we actually, our last big, I don't want to say fight or anything, but our last tense moment in discussion happened about a couple months ago. And it was over, like the number one thing that most married couples fight about or argue about, tense about are like finances and stuff. And so we were having that really, important conversation. And I remember, something that you said, I'm going to keep everybody on the tips of their toes. I remember something that you said that this exercise actually helps me with, and it helped me with, but I couldn't completely explain it to you at the time. And I think that this is going to help.
Okay.
Yeah. Super excited. So anyway, I feel like I'm going like this. Is that okay?
You just have to talk into the mic. Whatever you need to do to make sure you're talking to the mic, that's fine. That arm moves.
Okay. Anyway, so all right, back to Honey Lake. What did you think about Honey Lake?
I finally got to, because I was in such a bad place when we went there to drop you off there, right?
May of 2020.
Yeah. And not to bring it up again, but
no,
still,
please. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. And like, honestly, like I thought that I could quite possibly be dropping you off, never to be seen except in court or something again. Right. I mean, that's the bad place that I was in. And so I didn't pay attention to the tranquility, and when you pull up to the gate, that's one thing, but when you're on the backside of the gathering hall and you see all the property and you take the horseback ride and you walk the property, you go experience the church, it's a whole nother country. It is. It's a whole nother world, and it's I can see why a place like that has more impact than, and clearly I don't know anything about one facility to the next. However, being in the middle of nowhere like that and having all the tranquil grounds and the peace versus some, like rich playboys rehab that they go to every month because it doesn't seem to work in LA or Malibu or whatever. It just seems so different, right? I feel I joke about this too, but I feel like there's some power in it, because if you didn't drive there yourself, right? Which I don't think is the case, right? Are you even allowed to? You allowed to drive yourself there?
There were people, I can't speak for currently, but there were a couple of patients that were there when I was there that they drove there.
Okay. But it seems like most people get dropped off there. And there's some power in that, because if you don't want to stay, where the hell are you going to go? Because I mean, you're not a prisoner. If you decide to walk out, I imagine you can walk out.
Yeah.
But you are literally in the middle of nowhere. And the minute you get to the end of the street that Honey Lake is on, oh
my gosh, we're never going to get away from that.
It's true, but it's true. You didn't see my drive from there to the hotel.
No, I didn't.
Right? Exactly. Like right where Honey Lake is, it's rural, like it's, it's country people and stuff.
There's a Dollar General.
Yeah, that's like the only store for like a gazillion miles.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think there's some power in that. Because if you got dropped off, where are you going to go? And two, when you really start to accept what's going on and embrace what's going on, you become, I would think that you embrace the peace and the tranquility of the grounds and everything that it has to offer.
It was kind of overwhelming at first. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny. I wish I could go back and I've got like every single class that I've ever taken, every note in this binder. I wish I could go back and remember that one moment where it was like, I don't think I ever felt like I was stuck there, but I didn't know what to do with myself. I still even have in here my schedule. I always had something to do, but I didn't know what to do with the free time. And it switched from, I have no, because remember, and I've said this on here, I felt like a lost puppy that was just dropped off at the pound. It went from that to, I love it here. I'm enjoying the quiet, just being one with nature. And then, I was thinking about this morning, and I kind of almost think about it every single morning, every single work morning. When I wake up about an hour before I have to start getting ready for work. And I'd like to say that I do something really productive with that hour, like go to the gym. But I do that, like I did that before this. I went to the gym before this. Like go to the gym and journal and stuff. But my morning, I like to just sit in my chair, kind of zone out a little bit and have my coffee and just kind of like work myself up into the day. When I was at Honey Lake, I found myself waking up like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't think I ever woke up anytime after like 6:30 and wanting to walk around and enjoy the morning. And I was there during this time of the year, especially at the end of May. There's like a little bit of dew and a little bit of like fog some mornings. And it was just really beautiful and serene. And that is one huge piece of my recovery that I feel like sometimes I take it for granted, because I don't do that here. I did it there almost every single day, pretty much every single day. And I think that it's like you're forced to become one with nature. And I love nature. I mean, get me in a log cabin by a lake in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I love that. And so I think that they beautifully crafted the entire place for you to appreciate all those little pieces. And yeah, I'm glad you got to experience that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that part was awesome. The relationships, right? So I was there as a spouse, obviously, and I was able to connect with some of the guys that are alumni, having gone through the program, and they're just really cool dudes.
So this is something I was thinking about. It's like there's such a stigma, and the world is, slowly kind of like embracing it a little bit more, but there's a stigma about, say like an ex-addict. Would I have anything in common with somebody that had this history that I don't personally have?
Mm-hmm.
And you've never really had an addictive personality, so you were able to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the addictive personality, so I can't relate on those type of things because, for the most part, if I want to stop something, I can stop. Now, I will tell you.
Terrible. I wish I could.
Well, I'll tell you though, alcohol is one of those things that's really hard, even for me, right? I don't, because we talked about this on the previous episode, and I'm like, I told everybody, I'm like, I still drink. Now, I want to like kind of expand on that and say I don't drink at home. There's never any alcohol at home. Mm-hmm. However, I have this clubhouse right next door, basically. And if I want to unwind with that, I have it. When we're out in public, I don't drink without asking you.
It's like a beer.
Yeah. And that's it. I might have to. I never get the tall one. They always ask me tall or short. I'm like, I'm tall. Can't you see? Do you see me walk in the door? No, but but I always just get the pint size, and it's normally one. I've noticed the last couple of times that I ordered a second one, I only drink like half of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed those things.
So,
because I think about, gosh, I didn't have to pay for that. That's what I notice.
Well, true. So, but when it comes to that, right, I still have the ability, and I guess the difference is that sometimes I drink more than I want to, right?
And then I don't like you then.
Exactly. But even in those moments, it's nowhere where it used to be.
And when I say that, I don't say that in like a bad way. It's like it's just that
I dealt with you in your addiction. You don't have to backpedal from what you just said. I get it.
But I want to clarify something. It's not like, because I know for the most part through my haziness how I acted and how stressful and how you would not know what was going to happen next. With you, it's not that I'm triggered or
I'm just annoying.
Yeah, it's just annoying. You get very talkative, and I remember what I used to be like in certain situations, and I'm like, I just roll my eyes a little bit and go into another room. And I mean, it doesn't happen very often anyway, but for the most part, you stay over here and I'm doing my other thing over there. And that's another reason, why I drank too. It's like I had nothing to do with my time. I know it sounds stupid.
No, but
I've got other important things that I'm doing with my time. So it just doesn't like register.
Yeah. So anyway, there are some moments where I drink more than I want to. And that's the part that I really have to not do anymore. But I'm capable of having one or two and just being done and then not have anything for a week.
Gosh, I was never like that. But there's so many people out there like that. And so here's what I was thinking about when you were talking about that. So your addiction does not define who you are. It is a symptom. And with you and connecting with some of these other fellas and even some of the ladies, there are so many other facets to people than just that thing. Now, does it affect the other parts of you and your life and stuff? Yeah, of course. But that doesn't define who you are. Just like I said before, your past doesn't define you. It designs you. And so you were able to find a couple of the, I was going to say guys and fellas.
When you say fellas, it's so weird.
Sorry.
She's like a 90-year-old woman.
That you had a lot in common with. And that was just really great because, going into it, like you probably wondered not only what, actually, I don't know if you thought of or cared about anything like the program or the other people that I was around. You never really asked questions.
What do you mean?
When I was there. When I was there.
Oh, when you were there? Yeah. I know. Because I'm in a bad place. I don't.
Which is really, really hard. So
I don't care, and I don't know if I want things to be good.
And the reason I bring this up is because there are people that are currently there, right? Mm-hmm. Or that might be going there or went, and maybe their situation is not as stable as ours. We're stable. Yeah. We're stably unstable.
Clearly.
But so the reason why I want to bring that up is because, I mean, I think I got a birthday card from you. I know that I got a birthday card from you, but any other like words of encouragement or really asking about what I was going through, I didn't have any of that because you didn't care. You were so disconnected. And I still, some people that might be enough to be like, well, what am I doing this for? What am I doing this for? So I might as well just quit. And then even when I came back, we have mentioned before, it took us months and months before we even started to get into the right place. Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, why do I keep on doing this if the fruits of my labor are not coming to fruition and everything? And,
well, and if like because there were relationships that we were able to initiate when we were there, right? Like 5 different people, 3 of them for sure going through something similar to what we went through. And if you're feeling hopeless, if you stick with it, you both have to care and you both have to want. Mm-hmm. But if you stick with it, you can get to where we are. However, it wasn't easy. Mm-hmm. It took 10 months before we got to the decision that we were both going to be all in. And we were so bad that our counselor separated us. Like, that's how bad it was. Yeah. Like, you guys aren't doing this together. No. Yeah. And even then, when we did try to, because he met with each of us individually once, right? And said, you're not going to do this together.
Yes. He knew right away.
Then we had like 2 together that were absolutely horrendous.
So can I just
you remember that stuff better than I do. That period.
So we met at a church. We were in a room, and so the counselor's in a chair over here. There was a couch over here, and then a couple chairs over here. Mm-hmm. Brett was like at the furthest end of the couch, the furthest away from me, and I was like in the chair furthest away from mm-hmm. him. And slowly we kind of came together, and finally, we're sitting on the same couch together, but we were so far apart. And one thing that I remember, so I've gotten so good at this, but I used to be really, really bad at putting the things that go in the recycle bin, like putting food in the recycle bin, like pizza crusts from a pizza box. The box, it doesn't happen anymore. But like the pizza crust in a pizza box, the pizza box goes into the recycle bin. And I remember this so vividly, where you were just so livid and angry at me. And I remember our counselor, Kim, was just like, obviously trying to get us to come to a resolution and everything. And I wish what I wanted to say back then, and I didn't, because we were learning how to, express in a healthy way. You would have gotten mad about anything, any tiny little thing, because you were so triggered because of everything else going on. And then you learn how to, because we all make mistakes, right? We all do stupid stuff. Every now and again, I still don't put the toilet paper on the toilet, in the middle of the night, whatever. And I'm aware of it. I'm like, oh, this is going to probably annoy him in the morning.
Brett doesn't do it.
We were just talking about this the other night. Last night, everybody loves Raymond. I am not a nag.
No, but I do catch it for not putting the toilet paper back on the roll. But if you do it in the middle of the night, it's okay, and Brett's supposed to forget about it. But anyway, so I can actually talk to and speak specifics to why the recycle thing was irritating me so much at that point. And for me, it's a thing of respect. I don't know who's on the other end of that recycle bin, but I know that their job is not to have to pick out food from it. You know what I mean? They're supposed to separate.
I remember what you said.
I know. But the reason I bring it up and the reason it was irritating me so much is because I was being disrespected by multiple people in my own home at that time. And that's probably why that was infuriating me so much, because it was respect was such a big thing for me. And it was like, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Our house was not a place where I was getting an ounce of respect, not even to just be respectful enough to be like, this is your house and I'm in it. I wasn't getting any of that. So,
you know,
that's why it triggered me.
I'm glad you caught yourself, and you never say my house anymore. But that was one thing when I came back, or even before I went to Honey Lake, but especially, you know, when I came back and stuff, I didn't feel like it was our house.
When you got back from Honey Lake?
Yeah. I thought that I was living there until maybe we were going to get a divorce. And that was really hard, because like my prayer room, I remember you saying to Kim was our counselor. I wanted to take one of our spare bedrooms and turn it into like a little haven for myself, because you had your studio. We never really have people that come and spend the night anymore.
I mean, house party, like, quite honestly, this is the crazy thing. House parties are awkward unless there's alcohol. Like, really, where do you ever go to a sober barbecue or sober house party? Never.
Not often.
Yeah. Never.
You never. You're absolutely right. I'm sure that they're out there.
We went to the Halloween party at Friends, right? Everybody was drinking. And we were the only ones that weren't. I tried one of their weird, like, you know, flavored alcohols, peanut butter, whatever the hell it was, peanut butter rum or whiskey, peanut butter whiskey.
Okay.
So like that's all I really had, and maybe a beer. But yeah, I mean, we don't have any. We used to have like swinging parties where we'd be like fit chased and all kinds of like.
Anyway, Squirrel, coming back around, I wanted to have an area, especially when I came back from Honey Lake. I had learned that I need to take time for myself. That was like the first thing that they really, and in a what are those messages? Subliminal. There they were subliminal.
Yes, subliminally.
Kind of, I don't want to say drilling it into me, but they were kind of like drilling it into me about making sure that we take time for ourselves. And that's one thing as women, we especially when you're a mom and you've got young kids, taking time for yourself, and just in general, if you can't care for yourself, then how are you supposed to care for other people? And so when I came back, I had like a list of boundaries or expectations, however you want to look at it. Sometimes people, you know, if I say I've got a boundary, the other person's perception might take that in a negative way. So
yeah, I did.
I think I changed, and it was boundaries, but I changed it to expectations. But there was something that I needed to fill for myself. And we were in such a bad place. You even said, it's like, we don't even know if we're going to stay married. Why would I change a room for you? And that just killed me, because that was one of the pieces of the puzzle that needed to get worked on and put into place for the entire thing to start coming together.
But there was no communication about it.
Yeah.
You kept it in. I have no idea what's going on in your head. I'm still pissed off from everything that's happened.
Worried and when about how you'd respond.
Well, when you come home with boundaries, the spouse who doesn't have a clue what's going on, and we talked about this in the previous episode, it would be awesome. And we heard that they're taking steps towards this at Honey Lake now. But it would be awesome if there was like a weekend of counseling the people at home so that we know what those expectations are. Because when you came home with boundaries, I'm pissed off from our life being destroyed, and all I heard was, I've got demands. I F this all up, but I've got demands.
Demanda.
Yeah. So
I can understand that. I can understand that now. You know, when you're in the thick of it, it's so hard, even on the best of terms, even the best of marriages, where there's like not a whole lot of drama and extra situations and whatever. It's hard to communicate with your spouse. It can be.
Absolutely. And in all honesty, there was outside influences that were making you a heck of a lot stronger and more brave and not giving you time to really think through what was going on.
Yeah, because and one of the reasons was it's easy to look back and state it now. I was getting support from other sources instead of the place where I should have been getting the most support from. And that can be, yeah, I'm glad everything worked out the way that it has. It's just made us grow, and it's made me realize certain things. And, hopefully it's made you realize certain things as well. It's kind of like if you're not getting something that you need, you're going to find where you can get it. And it is what it is. Right?
I mean, it's the same kind of feeling that leads to infidelity, right? It's exactly that same kind of concept. And that's not at all what was happening. But there were people that were on her side. And from my point of view, it's 3 or 4 against 1. And none of that was productive. None of it.
Yeah. Well, now we go to God with everything, and then we go to each other with everything. Not to say that we don't talk. I mean, gosh, I've got some girlfriends, and you've got a lot more guy friends now that you can be like this annoying thing that
you have more girlfriends than I have guy friends now.
And it's weird because it used to be flip-flopped. But I didn't even know who I was to really make a true friend. Now, I do have some really great friends that have been consistent all throughout, my adulthood and stuff. We don't see each other very often, but we pick right back up where we left off. It's just because life gets in the way. And I was just telling our son this the other day, and even a couple other ladies. It's so funny. I'm 48 now. And I know. Did you see that? What do they call it? That dust thing just roll by? Or what do they call it? Tumbleweed. Yeah. It's so funny that the more you know yourself, your friends are going to shift a little bit in life. Yeah. And like my best friend right now, I didn't meet her till like less than 2 years ago.
So that was the last line of my testimony, which I said on one of our early episodes, and the meaning behind it literally had absolutely nothing to do with certain people, but it was taken that way. It really is about friends. And so the line is, and I heard this through training from one of the top trainers in Keller Williams. And he said, and it hit me. It stuck with me. I never forget it. It's one of those things that just is so powerful. You hear it once and you're like, what? Like, I can't remember. I can't believe that I remembered all the time. Right. So, surround yourself with people who remind you of your future and not your past. And you say remind because, this is my vision of my future. I don't want to be where I was because it was a bad place. And if I hang out with people who remind me of that bad place, I might do things, and those people might be the influence for doing those bad things. Right. So that was the end of my testimony. And apparently it was it was powerful for other people like it was for me when I heard it. And the message wasn't really delivered. It didn't fall the way that it was intended. When I first said it on an earlier episode, because it had nothing to do with family.
Perception is different. You know what I'm saying?
It had absolutely nothing to do with family, because that's not me. I don't write family off. I stay hurt for a while. I'll go there because I do, and I'm doing the best I can in certain situations. But it really was about friends, because we have friends who we genuinely love and care about. But we don't hang out because they're still doing all the same, like drinking 3, 4, 5 nights a week and all that. It's just not us. It's not our thing.
Yeah. The word stagnant comes to mind. When I was in my 20s and then my 30s and even my early 40s, like all the way up till I was at Honey Lake, I figured this is who I am. That's it. I didn't have I did not envision any type of future, right? I just figured, this is what I am. I'm a realtor. Or back when I was doing insurance full time, I'm like, well, this is what I'm going to be for the rest of my life. And so I'm 48 now, knocking on 50. And I really don't know, but I have so many goals, right? And I was thinking about this when I went to the gym before the podcast tonight. I get into moments, and I've had it this week, moments of, am I doing enough? Where before, and I was so blinded by my addiction, I was like, I'm doing too much. And I look back and I'm like, no, I really wasn't doing much of anything. But I feel a little defeated sometimes because I feel like there's more that I should be doing. And I don't know. Do you ever feel that way?
Well, with what you just said, I'm like, it's a moment for me to realize that, or to witness that you realize that, because especially in the height of your addiction towards the end, before you went to Honey Lake, you were very much entitled, and that was contributing to my doneness. You were very entitled. It's like, from my perspective, you're destroying everything and you feel like you have every reason to do it and get away with it, and everybody should just be good with it and blah, blah, blah. And so to hear you say that you realized that was going on, that's meaningful to me, because I didn't think you would ever realize that.
I realized that a long time ago, but that's
but I've never heard you vocalize it.
Well, and that's why I like doing this. And I wish I could get back those 3 months that we weren't doing this, because like I mentioned on last week's podcast, there's some things that we just don't communicate with each other. I've felt that way for a long time now. It's like, I'm not in school at the moment, starting to take classes again in the fall, but it's like, sometimes, I feel like there should be more that I can be doing. And so I realized when I was at the gym tonight, I just need to pray about it, and also be thankful that maybe this is a time for me to, I don't want to say dwell on it a little bit more, so I can realize how much more potential I've got. I think it's a reminder sometimes.
Well, everything's on his time anyway, right? So, maybe, so, I mean, full transparency, you didn't go to school because, one, you were worried about the time, but really the number one reason, we don't have the money right now. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah.
And, our son's school is an amazing school, but he's going to have had what equates to an Ivy League education by the time he's done. It costs a lot. Yeah. That's only through eighth grade. So, we prioritize that because that's what's most important, is that he gets quality education. And but we set the goal too, right? We're not going to skip another semester. And it's one of those things where, and we ride this roller coaster a lot. For one thing, it's kind of it's the nature of real estate. If you're doing it at a really high level, you don't feel it as much, but there's still those ups and downs still exist, right?
Yep.
So it's the planning, and we're in a valley right now financially. However, God is great. When you don't, you're not sure how you're going to get through it. And then we've been blessed to be busy in real estate and have other job opportunities, not job, but self-employed opportunities and partnerships and stuff like that.
I just realized, though, if I would have started the classes when I was supposed to, I don't think we would be doing this on Friday nights.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
the
technology doesn't work again. We may not do it on another Friday night.
I mean, I think that because when was it? 3 weeks ago or something, where I went to you and I said, we just have to start it back again. We just have to start it back again, because
I had been feeling that way. anyway, but
I vocalized it. But if I had
I needed you to be ready because of the circumstances.
If I was also in the middle of my studies and everything, I think I would have used that as an excuse to maybe push this off until the classes were over. Which so I think I just realized that. Do you have anything else to say about Honey Lake? Because
just the relationships, Brother Love and OG, I had an awesome time hanging out with them. There's a couple others too, but I haven't come up with any catchy names to keep them incognito. But just the relationships that were formed. One of the dudes, Brother Love, like that first night when we all met for fellowship at, what was that place?
It was a Trophy Lodge.
The Trophy Lodge. So we met there, and there was like not enough seating around because there was a lot of us, right? 13 of us.
I think 5 guys, 5 gals, or 6 and 6, something like that.
Yeah. And then this dude just goes, "You can sit here." I'm like, all right.
He was in love.
This is my boy. This is my boy. That's exactly the way that my really good friends that we've been friends forever. That's exactly the way that we are. I'm like, this dude's cool. This is gonna be awesome.
So for people that might be thinking about going to Honey Lake, this question might be really eye-opening. So you meet new people all the time. We both meet new people all the time, work, certain situations and everything. So did you notice any difference walking into meeting a new person and like the air about Honey Lake compared to when you're meeting new people somewhere else?
So I will tell you, and I almost feel like it's the believer in all these people and the Christian aspect and the trying to follow Jesus on whatever level we're on, right? Because I make no claim to be at a high level because I'm not. But I almost feel like that. Obviously, the character and the integrity of these people too. I think it's that makes it so warm and welcoming and natural, very much like at church. Like at our church, because we love it so much and we're kind of ingrained in it. When we meet new people there, it was a similar kind of feeling. It was just that on a more intimate level. Like there was no awkwardness. Everybody, I mean, shoot, talk about Brother Love. He's a menacing character to look at, right?
And you must have made
He's a big dude.
You must have made a great impression because you had to leave earlier than we had ended that night, all of the alumni, so you could drive back to Tallahassee and literally walk outside. We're making s'mores. It was amazing. And that guy, he's like, "This one's for Brett." And he turned on like a techno dance song and electronic song. And I was like, geez, I mean, we're talking within the span of a couple of hours or something. It's like you guys had told each other your life stories and whatever.
I think that to get to your point though, like there's no guards up when you're there.
The word natural is what stuck out to me.
Nope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody was authentic. It was awesome.
I'm glad you had a good time. Would you go back with me?
Absolutely, every time.
Yay. And you won't leave me there.
No.
All right. So I think this is a really good segue because you kind of touched on it. The financial aspect is something that I had thought about with this exercise when we were going over it last night. And so I know there's much more to this exercise. I'm just going to give you like what are those Cliff Notes?
Yes,
the Cliff Notes for it. So it's the heart math solution. And where's my phone here? I want to thank John and his beautiful wife for sending me a breakdown. I'm going to put a copy of this on our Facebook too, in case
in the group.
Yeah. So have you ever obsessed on a situation or an anxious thought?
Me? No, never.
So this is to take that thought and to retrain your brain to see it in a different, more positive light. That's the easiest way for me to explain it. So what we're going to do, I'm actually going to give you this. I want you.
Oh, I gotta put my glasses on. Hold on.
I'm sorry, honey. So I want you to think about a time that you were anxious or had an intrusive thought.
You mean right when we started this podcast?
Yeah. I'll share mine with you from last night.
Okay.
Or something that you're kind of constantly thinking about that is not the most positive thing. Okay. Take a moment for that.
I have the underlying one, but I want to talk about it here.
Think of one that you can share, because I know you have more than one.
That's messed up.
And it could be, a past argument that you had with a coworker or something that's still kind of you think about, and it's just something that turns your mood into something gray.
Okay, thank you for that, because that one helps, and that one is clear as a bell.
Okay. He's a lefty. He's awkward.
Only when I write neat.
Yeah, everything else with his right hand. Throws darts with his right hand. Golf. All right. So put that aside for a second. All right. And so,
can I throw it in the toilet or wipe my rear end with it?
No, not yet. Not till the exercise is done. And
I mean, that's how menacing of a thought it is.
So while you're doing this next part, I think I'll read a little bit about what's on this sheet, so everybody out there can know a little bit more about the exercise, and to fill the void, because you don't want me singing here. So on this page, well, before that, I want you to place your hand on your heart. All right.
Pledge allegiance.
No.
Okay.
So what you're going to do now is try to introduce a positive thought moment. So you're going to close your eyes, and for like the next anywhere between 10 and 60 seconds, think about a time that you have been really close to God, where you just felt like he was right there with you, or felt like, you had this great connection, or even if it was like a sermon at church where it really resonated with you, where it kind of gives you those good goosebumpy feelings and stuff. Okay. So I'm going to give you a few seconds for that.
Okay.
And then, well, you have to put your hand on your heart.
Oh.
You have to put your hand on your heart.
Got it.
And even if you have it, I want you to sit there for at least 10 seconds and I want you to think about that. Think about every single little thing. Like, I'm going to share mine with you. Where you were, colors that you saw, even smells, who was with you, your surroundings. I want you to think about every single little thing about that, not just the, oh yeah, that made me feel great. Because what you're going to do after these next few seconds is, on this sheet of paper that I have in front of me, you're going to write down everything that you can remember about that. Every emotion, whether you cried or not, whether you ran and shared that moment with somebody else because you just were so giddy with these emotions you couldn't contain yourself. Every single little thing. There were trees around you, farm animals mooing in the background, whatever. And then when you're ready, because you've done that for a few seconds, I want you to write down everything that you remember about that.
About that moment?
Yep. On this one.
Oh. This is weird. Why do I have two different things?
Because that's how they
you're
say
gonna be you're gonna be the keeper of this one, is that why?
Yeah. So
do I write what the moment was, or just the emotions and what I saw and all
everything that you can remember about it? What the emotion was, how you responded to it, mentally, physically. Where you were.
You're gonna have to talk about something so there's not so much radio silence.
Yeah, you're gonna want to you're gonna recall the memory, right? Love, joy, appreciation, compassion. What did you experience, either giving or receiving? And then you're gonna remain in the memory. So remain in the memory until the emotion associated with the recalled experience can be felt in your heart. So, I mean, you can sit there and say, I felt really good about this one thing, but I mean, do you really feel it in your heart? That's the whole thing about, putting your hand on your heart, not just thinking about that emotion and that memory, but feeling that emotion and feeling through that memory again. You want that to dominate your heart. And one thing it does say here, if you're unable to experience the emotion, let's say an emotion that would accompany appreciation, then adopt the attitude of appreciation. So it's kind of like maybe you're not forcing, but you're kind of forcing yourself to remember that and to feel. Because sometimes, like waking up early in the morning and being grateful that I have a home and a job to go to and a car to be able to get to my job. I don't necessarily feel grateful, but if I keep saying I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, then you start to actually incorporate that feeling. And so what you're going to do is you're going to release the memory itself, but you're going to hold on to the emotion or the attitude that you had. Then you're going to melt the anxious thought. And well, I know you're still writing, but I'm going to go ahead for everybody else. While holding this emotion in your physical heart area, return to the anxious thought and melt it piece by piece into the heart area, and with full sincerity, ask your heart, next time, what would be a less stressful, less anxious, and more effective response to this thought? Every situation in our lives is an occasion for either positive formation or negative deformation. And that's called the heart math solution. I love this. So you're freeze framing the anxious thought, refocusing. While waiting for the emotion, you're going to recall, remain in the memory, and then release the memory, but hold on to the emotion or attitude. And then that's going to help you melt that anxious thought or feeling. And you might have to, it's just like with anything else, muscle memory, right? This is great because he normally doesn't write too much. So I will talk about mine from last night. And I know that I've talked about this before. So the anxiety that I had last night, and we kind of touched on it earlier, financial worries, right? No, you're gonna read this.
That's fine. I will. Yeah. But I asked you if I'm giving it back to you, and you said yes.
Yep, you're gonna get back to me. So I was thinking about.
You can't say that though.
Financial. My intrusive thought was finances. I'm thinking about 401k, thinking about health insurance. It was the first thing that came to mind last night because, being in our business, again, we were just talking about it before, about the peaks and valleys and whatever. So financial burdens. And so that's what I was thinking about. And the memory that I had was something that I know that I've mentioned here once before, but the memory that I had was back in July of 2021. We were at Stone Mountain in North Carolina, and I hadn't really heard or even seen any kind of a message from God. Now, I want to also say it's because I don't think that I was looking hard enough. I know now, so we're talking 3 years later, I know now that, I can look around anywhere, even in this room, and I can see messages from God because I allow myself to recognize that. A lot of people out there think that, God's not with me. I feel so far away from him because they haven't had this big grandiose sign. And really, they're everywhere. That's one great thing about this exercise because you're training yourself to see those and appreciate things. So anyway, but back then, July of 2021, I hadn't heard from God in a while. The last time I had heard from him was right before we were really trying to start to even get ourselves back together. And it was just like a negative vibe from God. So anyway, I'm in the middle of this. It was a homestead. I can't even remember the name of the family that had made this place.
It just so everybody knows, it is not Stone Mountain, Georgia. That's the one that everybody knows. This has nothing to do with the Civil War or anything.
Yeah. So
totally different place.
More peaceful. In this homestead, there's this like huge cleared area right in front of the mountain, and you and our son were somewhere. I knelt down and I prayed right there. And it was just really quick. It's like, God, I haven't heard from you in a while. I think everything's going okay. I kind of, miss all the signs and everything that you used to give me. I just want to make sure that I'm doing okay. Can you just, send me something, some kind of a sign to let me know that I'm doing all right, that you're here, that you love me, because even though I'm doing well and I think I'm doing well, sometimes I feel like maybe I'm not. And so your reassurance is something that I'm looking for. And so we were walking back down to this gravel road back down to where the parking area was. Gravel road, trees on both sides of us. We're talking numerous stories high, tall trees.
Yeah, the trees are like huge, like 50 feet high.
Yeah. And so I'm in the front. Our son was behind me. Brett was back there. He had the video camera. We had a couple family members with us. And off to the right, I look up because I always tend to kind of like look up whenever I'm walking somewhere. I see this white thing just kind of like floating down from the tree troughs. And it fell onto the ground, and I walked over to it and I picked it up, and that's what this is. And
so here, I'm going to actually hold it up to the camera.
Okay. This literally happened within a half an hour of me praying to God. And so the emotion that I felt was, I felt so much stuff. Gratitude, my prayers answered, peaceful, happy, joyful, content, and amazement. Last night when we were going through this exercise for our alumni call, I started to get teary-eyed and everything because, and I think about this moment a lot. I think about it at least once a week, I know. But after this exercise, I know I'm going to be thinking about it a little bit more as many times as intrusive thoughts come in, because that's what this exercise is for, is to remind me of, a way that I can train my heart to feel better whenever these negative things might come into my mind. So I'm curious to know about yours.
So my negative thought can't be entirely mentioned, but do I say my negative thought?
As much as you want to share.
So, two people, one who quite honestly hasn't been a friend in a long time, but still a business partner and was a mentor of mine. And then another one who was more than a friend to me, more like a family member. Not to take anything away from my dad, but a father-like figure in my life over these last 15 years. Certainly like a big brother, again, not to take anything away from my big brother. But just that kind of relationship here where I am, because dad and my brother are not, here every day. It was that type of relationship. And just absolute backstabbing and betrayal. And it's been really hard to get over.
And how long has that been? Just for context.
We're over a year.
Okay.
It's been about
so this has been
14, 15 months
on your heart for this long.
Yeah, it got worse. Yeah. Yeah, it's been worse since November, December. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like when I just mentioned a few minutes ago that I try to walk closer to Jesus, or at least walk as close as I can every day, and try to be better about that. Believe it or not. Unless I'm driving. That's a tough one. But anyway. And I try not to hold hate in my heart, but I hate these individuals. Like, hate them. Full transparency. Hate them. And I've been telling anybody who, asks me about it and wants to listen, they're dead to me. Absolutely dead to me. Don't give a rat's rear end.
And so when I say,
but I do, right? Clearly, I do give a rat's rear end, and that's why it bothers me so much.
And so hearing somebody say that, forgiving them will release you is probably a hard pill to swallow.
I am, because I'm not there yet, right?
Yeah,
it's that big thing that people who hear that, because that's tough. It's just forget, because you're like, and just let them get away with it, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, especially the one. Because the one, she treats people like garbage every single day, and then goes to her Catholic church and feels like she's all good every Sunday, right? But she treats people like crap every day of the week. The other one, it's not that he's a bad person, but he's an absolute coward, and he let her get away with whatever she wanted, even if it meant losing our friendship.
So how does this, like, let's sum it up. How does that make you feel? Just name some emotions.
Anger, hurt, betrayal, resentment, revenge, disappointment. Disappointment's a huge one, because that's where most of the other emotions are coming from, is because he disappointed me so much, knowing that I could give so much to him, to that company, all that. And because he's such a coward, let one person who everybody knows, all the business partners know she's an evil, mean, nasty person, just let her get away with whatever she wants. And then she turns around and leaves the company. It's like it's all for naught.
Maybe shock too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, certainly shock, because I thought I had job security. I mean, I don't mind saying, because I know it's the truth, I worked harder on that company over those 15 years than anybody else did, hands down.
So I think I certainly can feel it. I think even anybody that is going to be watching this can feel all of those emotions that you're exhibiting, right?
Yep.
So with that, it's like, let's turn the coin over. Mm-hmm. So what is this experience that you wrote about?
So this was actually the Alumni Weekend.
Oh.
So emotions, relief, peace, understanding, feeling God's country, So that's what that place feels like. And surrounded by God's people. Visuals, green, brown, rolling hills, tranquility, water, sounds, birds chirping, breeze blowing, trees blowing, smells. You're gonna love this one. Horse poop. And that's not even at the stables. I don't know what it was about the gathering hall. It smelled
I
like
think maybe
the stables
somebody had
all
stepped
weekend
in it or something.
No, it didn't. Because actually, on the third day, hold on,
gosh, you're
or
gonna
the
give like a
second day,
negative light. It's not like that.
no.
At
It was
all.
just some weird smell, right? But even the second day, one of the people that was staying there was like, "Why does it smell so bad in here?" But anyway, okay. So horse poop, hay, fresh cut grass, people laughing, because that was something I really took notice, because there's a lot of serious stuff going on. There's pain, so much pain there. And to hear people laughing, we heard people cry too, but the laughing stood out the most because there was a lot of joy going on, whether it was just fellowship, people playing ping pong or pool or cornhole, the volleyball game, the water volleyball game, whatever it is. And I was surprised by how much laughing and happiness in those moments, because joy is something that like happiness is a fleeting moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And joy, that was something that stood out to me from that weekend too, is when I heard that happiness, and these are my words, but happiness is a fleeting moment and joy is something that you genuinely have in your heart and kind of consumes your being, like it's a place that you stay in all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say that it was joy yet. I know that a lot of those people are going to get there, but seeing those moments of happiness in what is probably one of the toughest times for all those people.
Mm-hmm. Can you see the difference between 2 minutes ago and now? Yeah. I love that we did this, and I love how passionate you were about the beginning part, because it just makes this whole exercise completely make sense, and it's effective.
Yeah.
So going back to one of the last tense conversations that you and I had a couple of months ago, and you asked me, or I don't think you asked me, but it was, we had talked about, it seems like you don't care about certain things because I kind of come off as a little bit blasé. I know I'm really easygoing until I'm not easygoing, but that takes a long time for me to not be easygoing. It's because of exercises like this, where I can dwell in, or I can, and it's not really, there's so many different things. I can use my memory for so many different levels of anxious thoughts, bad emotions, and whatnot. But I always go back to that moment at Stone Mountain because it reminds me that I'm not in control, that he's always watching over me. This emotion, this situation is fleeting. And we, meaning you and I, and we, meaning him and I, are going to overcome whatever that is at the moment. He doesn't want us to sit and dwell in that negativity. And that just shows you how powerful that, retraining your thoughts and trying to become joyful in all things is something that, you can learn to do in a matter of like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Cool exercise.
Yeah. Thank you for being a good subject.
I went from turning red of rage to crying tears for the power that people are feeling in that place.
You know what? And thank you. The other thing that you did was you took what was going on with you and you made your happiness also about other people.
I mean, you kind of know that about me, though.
I do know that about you.
It creates problems with us when I'm doing things. And that's, I'm not going to go back to the rage part, but that's where I'm confident in the fact that I gave more, like a minute by minute basis than any of the other partners ever did, because I put that place before family way too many times.
Yeah. Well,
so all
it's
this,
a lesson.
Yeah. I mean, all this was meant to be, and it's all part of God's plan. And I get that. It doesn't make losing a friend any easier. And then some will say that, well, it's your choice to not have him be your friend. The way that I am, you royally screw me and stab me in the back like that, and I'm just done, because I'll never trust you again. So why would we have the relationship?
Your boundaries and your expectations are a little bit different now, just like with my boundaries and expectations. And like, I know what is not good. I know what to do to not get me in a bad situation. And so yours just took the form of, actual people. Mine was a more tangible kind of thing or intangible thing with drinking.
Well, I mean,
it could be either.
It's still tangible.
Yeah. But yeah, you learn, you grow from it. And so next time, I keep this and just think about that. That's why I think of Honey Lake so often. I mean, I think of Honey Lake on a daily basis, daily. And so anyway, I think with that, we'll wrap up tonight.
Cool. Yeah. So that was awesome, babe. Thanks for that.
Thanks to
exercise.
John.
Yeah.
Thanks to John and Honey Lake, because this was not mine at all.
Yeah. Panicos, thank you very much. That was it was cool to experience it like that. And then in that one moment, as you started to tell everybody what just happened, I'm like, no. I'm like, I see what just happened there.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's awesome. Anyway, like we always say, we are here. Stop saying hopefully, Brett. We're pretty confident that this will help somebody out there. Hopefully a lot of people, but even if it's just one, it was all worth it. And if you are having any kind of feelings of despair or hopelessness, anything like that,
or
please,
triumphs, let us know. Good things that are happening too.
For sure. But
love hearing that.
Please reach out, even if you just want to know more about our story and how bad everything was before it got better. Because I think from the people that we talked to and were able to connect with there, what I gathered is that they were having a hard time connecting where we are from like what they're experiencing, but ours was really, really bad.
It was really bad. Better. And so you see and we're not even a final product. I don't think any marriage is. We don't have everything all together, and we certainly didn't before, but we're willing and we want to share all of that stuff to maybe even help somebody not waste so much time and egos and resentment and everything, that we had. We're not just the last page of the book. So,
write that down. That's a cliche by Amanda Bishop.
We're not just the last page of the book where everything's a happy ending.
If you can't, oh, that's what that means.
Well,
how was anybody supposed to put that together?
We don't have it. Well, I'm glad that I said. I was wondering what you thought that I was saying. No, like
I was just giving you a hard time because of your horrible.
I know.
Cliches.
We're not so far removed where like they seem to have everything all together. I don't. I have no idea how we're going to relate with anything. Trust me, we will relate.
All of those feelings are fresh. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, and that's what this is all about, those feelings are so fresh that I have to make a conscious effort not to let them get in the way of progress. with other relationships that we have and things like that. So I have to put them aside. But I'm one of those people that, the cliche is I forgive, but I don't forget. Ultimately, I'm not really forgiving when you really think about it either. I mean, I'll go through the motions.
That's something you need to work on with you and God.
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, that was not about family, because I am actually giving a huge effort to that, and so far so good. It's been great. So, if you need to reach out, please reach out in the comments. But we understand anonymity and protecting, your confidentiality too. So. We're an open book. We're not hard to find. We're both realtors. So our information is everywhere. You can just Google our names and put it with the face, and you will find a phone number and email, and you are welcome to reach out. We would love it if you would. So
absolutely. And thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. We really appreciate all the time, taking time out on a Friday night.
And thanks to all of our Honey Lake alumni family.
We love you guys. You're awesome.
Yeah. Unforgettable experience. So thank you for that. I love those relationships that I formed and you strengthened, and some, and so awesome. Right. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye, guys.